So this is just a demo of some stuff you can do with offset voxels. If you don't know what offset voxels are, this is probably not the best tutorial to start with. Check out some others at a more intro level in my playlist on YouTube. And also, if you don't know how to make offset voxels, then I did do a tutorial previously just showing you how to make them, basically how you could make everything you see in front of me here, are these white voxels. So check that out if you want to know how to make these. They look like normal voxels, but as you can see, my selection volume selected actually above where that white square is. So the game thinks the voxel is here. Visually, it appears to be below its real position, and that's why people call them offset, because they are visually offset from where the game actually believes they are. All right, so what do we do if we have a line of offset voxels like this? Well, let's make those wine glasses real quick. Gonna select this group, just paste it up here. I'll float it up a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to take one of the tiny offset voxels. These are a little harder to select, because remember, you have to select the space above where they appear to be. And then paste that down below these ones that I just pasted down. And you probably want to use tweak mode for this. So this, let me zoom in. This white one here, remember, is offset, so actually the game believes it is here, one square above where we see it. And this one, this little one, is also offset, so the game actually believes, and correctly believes, that it is actually here, even though we visually see it one below that. So I'm leaving one space between them, and when I paste this, oops, sorry, I am not leaving one space between them. And when I paste this, it will cause this to be stretched down to here. So, try and explain this. Here is where the game believes that upper white voxel is. But here is where we see the upper white voxel. And then I pasted a second microvoxel here, which visually we are seeing here. So what happened was that the game, because neighboring voxels connect, the game has caused it to form this little point. That's very badly drawn. Hopefully that makes sense. At any rate, despite my lacking artistic skills, I'm going to just continue along this line, pasting these down to turn my nice squares into little cones. And so I don't need to do the whole row, but I'm doing a selection of sizes just so we can see how it will make different shapes. Obviously, the fatter ones end up as fatter cones. Great. So now I'm going to once again select a bunch of these. Copy. And I'm going to paste these down in front. But what I'm actually going to do is flip them upside down. So I'm using the mirror tool. I could also hit the V key. And flipping them, you can see they visually hopped upwards. And paste them there. So these ones, because I flipped them upside down, the game actually believes that they are underneath where we visually see them. Now I'm going to take a small voxel again and paste this one underneath. Again, tweak mode by holding down Control is very helpful for lining these up. Now this one is interesting. So these voxels are now offset in opposite directions. So if I bring up this drawing program again, this one, oops, sorry, it's been a very long day of work. Oops. All right. So this white one here, the game believes it is here because we flipped it upside down. It is actually visually there. The one below, however, which I just copied and did not flip, the game believes it is here, and it is visually here. So what we will get, because these adjacent voxels, the game believes these two voxels are adjacent, although visually they don't appear to us to be adjacent, but actually the top voxel is really here and the bottom voxel is really here. So we're going to get an extra long cone because those sides always have to touch. So if I've calculated that space correctly, oops, no, one more further apart, there. So that vanished when I first did that because I was actually still too close. I was actually pasting it on the same square as where the top one was. I just didn't count my spaces well. So these are 1, 2, 1, 2, 2 spaces apart. So I'm going to go along the row, and sorry, that's a little hard to see. Let me move to this side. So I'm doing here is I am creating extra large cones like that. Now I could have used a non-offset voxel at the bottom. That would have been fine too, and I would then have got a cone a little less long than this, but a little longer than that. So let me paint these with ice, and I will paint these, and remember, because these are offset, I actually have to select the row above. Paint these with something that looks interesting, like, I don't know, ruby. And now I'll copy that. Oh, not yet, sorry. First, this will work, but I want to make this look like a glass, which has feet. So I'm going to copy this line of the glass ones, flip it upside down again, and put those cones on the ground like that. Then I'm going to flip it the first way up and move it up just one. And you see how that just conveniently caused a little foot to form, like a champagne glass? Just a handy little trick. So now I'm going to copy these ruby ones, paste them, and I can either paste them directly on top, like this, or I may want to hit undo and just shift the shapes over 1 or 2 sizes smaller. Shift it over 2 just so you can see more clearly. And the difference is that I get a fatter rim of glass around the top. So it depends on what look you want. See how there's a bit of a space there. You can see the thickness of the glass, whereas if I had pasted them at the same size at the top, then it meets exactly. There's no right or wrong way, it just depends what effect you are particularly going for. And here you see it's absolutely hair thin at the top, and actually the ruby appears to stick out just slightly over the top. So now you've got some pretty cool wine glasses, which you can use for whatever you want. You don't have to use cone shapes. You could take offset voxel straws, which we made in a previous tutorial. If you don't remember how, check that out. I could use those directly, but it'll look better if I make them a little longer. So this, I'm not sure how that will look. That's not too bad. And I could paint that, obviously, if I wanted to make it some, oops, cheery color. I could also make the straw extra long. I'll paste this straw here. So this voxel is really there above it. Visually, the straw is down below. Now if I flip that upside down, paste another one and flip it vertically, and then move it up. What happened is that I stretched this bottom voxel to meet where this one was being pasted. I'll paint it so you can see where the voxels change. So those are the two voxels. So now I've got a super long straw, which I could also use. This voxel is actually in the middle, but visually it extends to both top and bottom, so it doesn't really matter which way up I use it. Just remember to, oops, remember to paste it one above the one you're pasting it into, or it will plate that. So that straw is a little tall, perhaps. You can play around and get different lengths of straw and see what you prefer. And of course, you also don't have to have a cone-shaped bottom, but this is a nice effect if you want the wine glass look. Alrighty, so that is a quick and easy way to make little wine glass things using offset voxels. And I have shown up to 1 voxel in size. This one at the end is 1 voxel in size offset, but you can make them fatter. Let me zoom out here. Copy this fat one, paste it over there, and I'll copy one of these skinny straws. And just like making a mega voxel that isn't offset, I can paste the skinny one to the 4 corners of this offset voxel. And I get an offset megavoxel, which I can equally well stretch out to any size and shape that I want. Paste that there, and then I'll paste this one, flip it upside down there. Now let's say I want that there to be the size of the point of it. That, oops, not too far away. It's a little hard to judge with the fat voxel. And then this one, maybe I want actually a little fatter base. Maybe I'll use that one. Oops, I don't think I aligned that properly. I think it's behind it. Yep. It's hard to tell in 3D. Alright, so that is centered. Almost. There. That is centered. So now that's visually there. That's where the one above really is. And that's where the one I'm pasting really is. So the 2 voxels are actually here and here. Paste. There we go. And then I will paint. Oops. Select some glass here. I'll paint this one glass and copy this one into it. And I get an interesting really, really fat something. Don't know what exactly, but it's kind of cool. I could have changed the shape of this one that it's pasted into by changing the shape of the one of the voxel that I pasted below it. For example, if I copy this out can play around with it separately. You notice how when I pasted it on top of itself, one down, it actually overlaps like that. You can get some quite interesting effects playing around like that. And if you use water to paint with, because the water moves, get some real interesting effects as well, which you may or may not like, but they're there. So just flipping these offsets around and playing with them often produces some unexpected results. You can't always predict what they're going to do. Let's take another example. What if I take this, paint it with water, and paste it into this? You can see how it actually deformed the one underneath it into an interesting shape. And then who knows, maybe I can use that base for something else. What does it look like upside down? Upside down, it's kind of a cool little stand. Paint it gold, make it a table. You get a lot of weird shapes when you play with offsets, and I know Candela has a house where she's done absolutely crazy things, and it's worth looking at if you're interested. But that is offset voxels for making wine glasses. So what else can you do with them? Wine glasses are cool, but you only need so